In this video, we're going to look at the proper way to prepare a solution. A solution, of course, is a homogeneous mixture that's prepared by dissolving some solute in a given solvent. To prepare a solution, we need to know a few things. First of all, we need to know what solute we want to use to make our solution. We want to know what solvent we need to dissolve our solute in. Generally, it's going to be water. What molarity do we want our final solution to be? And what volume do we want our final solution to be at? So if we know these four things, we should have enough information to prepare a proper solution. So let's look at an example and use this to go through the steps to prepare a solution. It says describe exactly how you would prepare 250 milliliters of a 0.5 molar solution, 0.5 molar sodium chloride solution. Take a minute, pause the video and think about it. Think about how you might prepare this solution. Then we'll go over it together. Okay, so first thing, let's identify what we know. We know our solute is going to be sodium chloride. Our solvent, we're not told what it is, so we can assume it's going to be water. Our concentration for this solution is 0.50 molar, and our volume is 250.0 milliliters. So the first step that we need to do is to calculate the mass of our solute that's required. So we know that we want 250 milliliters and our molarity should be 0.5 molar. So we can use our volume, 250 milliliters, and our molarity to figure out how many moles we need. So I took my volume and changed it into liters using the conversion. Now I use my molarity, which is 0.50 moles of sodium chloride per liter, to convert my volume into moles. So now I know how many moles of sodium chloride I need to prepare the solution. Well, once I know the moles of solute, I can convert that into grams using the molar mass, in this case of sodium chloride. So my moles cancel, and I'll end up with grams of sodium chloride. So I need to measure out or mass out 7.3 grams of sodium chloride to prepare this particular solution. The next step is to add the solute to a volumetric flask. Generally, we prepare solutions in volumetric flasks because volumetric flasks are very accurate at measuring a particular volume. Volumetric flasks can measure one particular volume very accurately. So here we could prepare a 1,000 milliliter solution, a 500, a 250, or a 100 milliliter solution in the appropriate volumetric flask. When using a volumetric flask, you add your solvent until the bottom of the meniscus touches a mark on the neck of the bottle. So this mark right here is the 1,000 milliliter mark. You can see maybe the mark here, that would be the 500 milliliter mark, the 250 milliliter mark, and the 100 milliliter. So there are volumetric flasks of lots of different volumes, and again, they're accurate at measuring one particular volume very accurately. So for our solution, we want 250 milliliters of solution, so we would use a 250 milliliter volumetric flask to make our solution in. So we would add the 7.3 grams of sodium chloride that we calculated. We would add it to a 250 milliliter volumetric flask. The third step, we would add some water to the flask and we would swirl it until completely dissolved. So we would dissolve our 7.3 grams of sodium chloride in a small amount of water. And how much water exactly you add, it varies, but just add enough, just enough to dissolve all the sodium chloride by swirling it vigorously. Now, once all of your solute has dissolved, now you continue to add your solvent, in this case water, until you've reached the 250 milliliter volume. So for our solution, we would add deionized water to our sodium chloride solution, and we would continue to add DI water until the bottom of that meniscus reached the 250 mil mark on our volumetric flask. Then we would know that we have exactly 250 milliliters of solution, And the molarity, since we used 7.3 grams, our molarity would be 0.50 molar. Now, one thing that's important to note, notice the steps very carefully. Be sure you have written these down. Be sure you're taking notes. When you prepare a solution, you dissolve the solute first, and then you dilute it to your final volume. In our example, we diluted it to 250 mils. Never take your solute and dissolve it in this case, maybe 250 milliliters of water. So you don't add 250 milliliters of water to the solute, because if you did that, as the solute dissolved, your final volume would be a little bit greater than 250 milliliters. So always dissolve your solute first in a little bit of water, and then dilute it to your final volume to avoid going over the desired volume. So let's have you practice preparing a solution. Here you want to describe how you prepare 500 milliliters of 0.255 molar potassium nitrate solution. So stop the video, take some time, and describe exactly how you'd prepare this solution. So the first thing we need to do is calculate the mass of our solute. I take the volume, my milliliters cancel, and then I convert it to moles using my molarity. Then I can take the molarity and convert it into grams using the molar mass. So my moles cancel. I end up with grams of potassium nitrate, in this case 12.9 grams of potassium nitrate. So that's not your final answer though. If you just put that, that's incorrect. You have to describe how you would prepare it. So you would mass out 12.9 grams of potassium nitrate. You would add it to a 500 milliliter volumetric flask. Then you would dissolve the potassium nitrate in a small amount of water. And once it's all dissolved, then you would dilute it to a final volume of 500 milliliters with DI water. So be sure that you are understanding that you understand how to prepare a solution, all the steps involved in the calculations, because this is a very, very important and fundamental task for any student or scientist to be able to do properly. So good luck.